Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. First item, I see that power puncher Dakari Scott has won his first pro title in just his 7th fight. All these news items come to you courtesy of boxing247.com. In that recent card promoted by Don King, Dakari Scott went toe-to-toe against Ahmed Hefney. All-American heavyweight prospect DaCarree MacTruck Scott says winning the NABA gold heavyweight title last Saturday night, that's January 29th, in just his 7th fight and going 10 rounds for the first time, doing it confirmed he's on the right path in his professional career. Despite having fought just 7 career professional rounds before taking the fight on short notice, 23-year-old Scott, who's 7-0 with 6 knockouts, faced off against Ahmed Hefney, who was then 13-1 with 5 knockouts, fighting out of Queens, New York, as part of that Don King event at the Packard Music Hall in Warren, Ohio. And he came away with an impressive 10-round split decision victory. I feel good, he says. I took the fight on short notice, but I got the decision. I wanted the knockout, but the dude kept running. This fight, I proved something to myself. It shows me I've been doing the right things in the gym and I'm headed the right way. So many of us on Talk and Fight have been talking about the up-and-coming heavyweights, and I guess we need to include him. But let's look at this. Standing a squat 5'10", but weighing over 270 pounds, Scott says he silenced many of his doubters by going the long way to victory. The slugger had scored 5 previous first-round knockouts before the fight. He said, I've been sparring 10 rounds the past 2 years. I could have gone 15. I knew the rounds weren't an issue. People think that because I'm big, that I'm going to be tired, but I showed them I can win over the distance too. Said his promoter, Greg Cohen of Greg Cohen Promotions, I knew Mac would come away with a win. He developed his size so young that he's become a master of taking on bigger and older opponents and running them over like a Mac truck. I thought he was very impressive for such a young fighter in his toughest test. He didn't get another knockout to show on ESPN, but he has now his first professional belt. I'm very proud to be working with him. Good for him and a name to look out for. Speaking of the heavyweights, we see that Otto Wallin was back in action. No, we see that Wallin is about to be in action. Coming off the biggest win of his career almost a year ago, WBC ranked number 13 heavyweight Otto Wallin says he's happy to be getting back in the ring this Saturday night. That's February 5th. The 6'5.5" southpaw Wallin, who's 22-1 with 14 knockouts from Sweden, will look to shake off the rust against durable veteran Kamil Sokolowski, who's 11-24-2, fighting out of Poland. And this will be on the undercard of the Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Wiliams fight, the middleweight showdown, as well as female superstar Clarissa Shields defending her WBC, WBA, IBF middleweight world titles against unbeaten top-rated challenger Emma Cozen, and that would be live from the Motor Point Arena in Cardiff, Wales, as I said, on February 5th. So a good card put together there, and we look forward to that for sure. Elsewhere, taking place down in California, we see Ruben Torres is going toe-to-toe against Christian Mignon. Thompson Boxing's undefeated rising star, lightweight Ruben Ace Torres, who's 17-0 with 14 knockouts, has an opponent for his upcoming main event bout, as he will face the dangerous Argentinian Christian Mignon, 24-2 with 17 knockouts. It's an 8-round main event bout headlining Thompson Boxing's New Blood event, and that'll take place on February 18th, 2022. This event will take place at the Doubletree Hotel in Ontario, California. And Torres said, I'm happy to be back in the main event for the next Thompson Boxing show. I must be tested if I want to become a champion, and I know my promoter will challenge every step of the way. Mignon is a dangerous fighter because he has a lot of power, but I have complete confidence in myself to be victorious. These are the types of fights I've been seeking. Elsewhere on my card, in an 8-round co-feature, we'll see Isaac Dinamita Zirate, who's fighting out of San Pedro, California, with a 16-5-4 record with two knockouts. And he's going to square off in a rematch against Horatio Garcia, who's 34-4-1 with 25 knockouts in the featherweight division. Good for them. Looks like a good fight. All right. Elsewhere, taking place in Turnberry, Scotland. We've reported on this one before. 19th of February. Scottish title action is the order of the night on Saturday, February 19th, when Fight Zone broadcast an evening of boxing live from Turnberry, Scotland. The Kynoch Boxing Promotion show is topped by an intriguing encounter between Glasgow's Stewart, Burt and Arbroath's Corey McCulloch, with Burt's Scottish welterweight title on the line. The champion enters the contest as the more experienced man. Burt, who won the title in 2018 with a win over Ali Black, has lost just twice in 17 fights since turning pro in 2014. The 31-year-old will want to get back to winning ways, though, after a technical draw decision in October last year, when a clash of heads halted his fight with CJ Wood in the first round. McCulloch, who coincidentally is also fresh off a 4-round draw with Wood from July 2021, has less miles on the clock. The 28-year-old turned over in 2019 has racked up a 4-1-1 record since, when his title tilt against Burt, his first experience of championship action. Appearing in the chief support slot will be Montrose's John Docherty, who's 10-1, and he'll face the hard-hitting Ghanaian super middleweight champ Maui Faliva, who's 5-1, with 5 knockouts, by the way, in what promises to be a ding-dong encounter, says our friends at boxing247.com. Check out that story on their website if you want more information. And elsewhere, we see Marc Leach going toe-to-toe against Chris Burke at York Hall. Marc Leach will be celebrating his long-awaited British title fight by becoming a full-time boxer. An interesting story here. The slick Salford man challenges Queensbury-promoted puncher Chris Burke, who's 10-0 with 6 knockouts, for the vacant British Super Bantamweight Championship, as I said, taking place at York Hall. That's in Bethnal Green on Friday, March 11th, and that'll be live on BT Sport. Since turning professional in September 2014, Leach, who's 17-1 with 4 knockouts, had worked 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. shifts in an Argos warehouse, but thanks to the generous support of his sponsors, was able to give up his job last month. The relieved father of 4 said, "Finally, I'm a full-time boxer, and there are no more night shifts in the warehouse. I now get all the rest I need and train twice a day. That is already improving me and bringing out the best in the gym. This is the first time I've ever had a full camp for a fight. Usually I've trained, but camp has been 2 or 3 weeks." Kind of reminds me of the Rocky movie. Anyway, this is a make or break fight for me. I'm not going to lose, but if something went wrong, it would take me years to rebuild, and I'm not financially sound enough to do that. Leach, who's 27 years of age, was first nominated for a British title eliminator almost 2 years ago and had to win 10 rounders on points against Olympian Quiz Ashfad and Thomas Asomba to get his shot. Jamie Moore trained Leach, expected to be challenging another Queensbury boxer, Jason Cunningham, instead of Burke, but he relinquished the British title to chase world honors. Leach didn't have to think twice when fellow Southpaw Burke was nominated to face him, and a deal was quickly agreed upon. I knew I was in for the British title, but I was only looking at Jason because I thought he would want to win a Lonsdale belt outright, which is one of my main goals, admitted Leach, who knocked out Stefan Nikolai in 26 seconds last month. I am now fully focused on Chris and looking at him. Now I'm at this level, I can't make any wrong moves and everything has to go to plan. Chris is a big puncher, pretty strong, and he's going to be there for what will be a 12 tough round fight. Good for him. All right, and also, this is a good story. Undefeated Toronto light heavyweight prospect Kareem Hackett, who's 8-0 with 7 knockouts, and who was recently featured by Mike Orr on Knuckle Up on Talkin Fight, has signed a managerial contract with 3 Point Management, which also manages 43-0 Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, the former world super middleweight champion, and today the top-ranked world light heavyweight contender. Says Ramirez, "Kareem is a great talent that just needs an opportunity. He has been a good sparring partner for me in the past, and I'm glad he can be in the same stable as I'm in." 3 Point Management. In Canada, by the way, Hackett participated in combat sports like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and boxing. He had a 40-6 amateur boxing record, including a pair of ringside international boxing titles, as well as being crowned a Canadian national kickboxing champion. Now a resident of Los Angeles, where Kareem trains at Brick House Boxing Club, in which Zurdo is part of its ownership, Hackett is coached by Ramirez head trainer Julian Chow. I met Zurdo through Julian, Hackett explained. We have the same trainer, Julian. Sparring with Zurdo is great. Afterwards, we always talk about boxing. He has a lot of experience, and he's taught me so many different things. It also adds to my competitiveness. I try to bring different things I've learned from him into our sparring, and that has been great for me. And I think we'll be getting Kareem back onto Knuckle Up with my Core and Cedric band at some point in the very near future. Elsewhere, we see that Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had some words prior to their big fight coming up in April. Let's have a quick look here, see if I've got some juicy quotes for you, or they're just the normal stuff. Let's have a quick look here. Said Katie Taylor, I've had my eyes on Amanda Serrano, and this is a fight I've been looking forward to for quite some time now. This is history right here, and all of our hard work is going to be paid off at this time. I think that this fight is the most exciting fight in the sport, not just female boxing. This really is the best fight in boxing right now. We are both great champions. She has a great record, and she's a great fighter. We've seen the likes of McCaskill and others, but I want to be the best fighter, replied Amanda Serrano, the 7-weight world champion. No time is better than right now. Happy Women and Girls in Sports Day. Women, we are changing the sport. I'm honored to share the ring with Katie Taylor. I have to thank my coach for not accepting the first couple of fights. He knew what I was worth, and now we are working with MVP. I don't need to talk bad about any of my opponents. I do all my talking inside the ring. 13 years I've been professional, and every other day I've wanted to quit. Never did I imagine making the money I have today. I mean, headlining MSG, that's Madison Square Gardens. Like, what? And chimed in Eddie Hearn, chairman of Matchroom Sport. Welcome to the iconic Madison Square Garden here in New York for the history-making occasion, April 30th, the Undisputed Women's Lightweight World Championship here from the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden. The first time in 140 years of boxing and combat sport history, 2 females headline here. This is going to be not just the biggest female fight of all time, but one of the biggest fights of all time. Katie Taylor is a huge draw in Ireland and the UK. Amanda here in the US. Both women have headlined on major events around the world. We expect to fill up the Garden completely. An unbelievable undercard being planned for April 30th already. 2-division world champ Jesse Vargas will take on Liam Smith from Liverpool. The undisputed super middleweight world champion between Cruz Duzun and Sidarius also on the card, as well as many more to come. Said Jake Paul, co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions. That was MVP, who I mentioned earlier. What an honor to be here at the historic Madison Square Garden. I want to give a big thanks to Jim Dolan and the entire MSG team for making history with us, for real. Women have been boxing since the early 1900s, but it wasn't until 1999 that they were able to compete professionally. 23 years later, here we are with one of the biggest fights ever headlined by 2 women at Madison Square Garden. Today is about Amanda and Katie, the 2 best female boxers in the world right now. They deserve this stage, this historic payday, and they deserve to settle who is the pound for pound best, which is why I'm excited to see this fight. It's also about Ann Wolfe, Christine Martin, Layla Ali, Mia St. John, and so many other legendary boxers that helped lay the foundations for the ladies to be sitting here today. It's about Clarissa Shields, Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgartner, and other amazing professionals currently in the sport. Most of all, it's about the future young women and girls all around the world who will see April 30th as a moment that made the impossible possible. Equality as it's meant to be. Fine words spoken by Jake Paul, gotta admit. And for the last story of the day, we've got some quotes out of Chris Eubank Jr., who's going toe-to-toe against Liam Wiliams this Saturday, I believe. So they continue their war of words, says this article. Let's see, Wiliams is 23-3-1, 18 knockouts. Eubank Jr., 31-2 with 23 knockouts, and both had plenty to say. Wiliams said, "This is an unbelievable opportunity to fight in Cardiff in a high-level fight. I'm so excited to put an end to this guy and drop him down a few levels. He'll realize his level after this fight. I've got a better skill set and I punch harder than him. He's tough and takes a good shot, but his legs are very robotic. And once the action gets going, once the going gets tough, he'll revert to type, and we'll find out Saturday who's the better man. I'm super up for this fight. Chris doubts his ability as he's put a rematch clause in. If I was going to fight somebody I thought I would blow out of the water, I wouldn't have a rematch clause. Depending on how badly I beat him, he might want to take it or he might not. Classic stuff, good stuff. Anyway, Eubank Jr. replied, I didn't spend a year and a half on a farm training hard for nothing. We're on our way to world titles and cleaning up the middleweight division. Wiliams is the next man in front of me, and I'll take him out. He's talking about rematch clauses and other stuff. Business is business. None of that matters. All that matters is what will happen on the night. And that's me standing over him, looking down and raising my fists as he gets counted out. Good stuff for them. All right, sports fans, thanks for joining me once again here on Boxing News Today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on at 4 o'clock with Mike Rohr on Knuckle Up.